The Supreme Court took up a religious freedom case 7 years in the making. It involves this man, former high school football coach Joe Kennedy in Bremerton, Washington. Now, it all started when the coach would kneel for prayer at the 50-yard line as part of his post-games tradition. Some players joined in whenever they wanted to. In 2015, he was fired from his job for refusing to stop his on-field prayers. Now, decision in this case is expected by June. So let's talk a little bit more about this with the managing director for Coalition of Jewish Values, Rabbi Menken. Rabbi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So the coach says, he's come out saying he's never wanted to be a symbol of religious rights. All he wanted to do was to connect with players through football, to connect with God whenever he wanted to pray. But because he's a public employee, the question here is, were his prayers protected by the First Amendment?
So our perspective on that is that it's an obvious yes, that he's not establishing a religion. He's not telling any student you have to do this. He simply went out and prayed on his own, and various students wanted to join him. And once they joined him, he delivered a message that they wanted to hear. That's all voluntary activity, and there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, our religious freedom would be threatened if he were not allowed to do that.
Absolutely. And the lawyers for the school argue they had an obligation to protect the students from being coerced into religion, activities that they didn't want to participate in. But like you said, it doesn't seem like they were. He often prayed alone. And when those students wanted to join in, they joined in.
The Americans United for Separation of Church and State appears to regard religion as uniquely threatening to America, which, of course, if you look at the founding fathers, that they would be rather surprised to hear that. It's all about, in America, we have religious freedom. We get to do what we want to do, and we respect other people doing what they want to do. And everything that Coach Kennedy was doing was completely in line with his individual practice. No student was coerced to participate. Any student who wanted to could. And those of us who don't share his religion could respect that from a distance. No problem with that.
Yeah, Rabbi, why do you think traditional religion is being discriminated against? Meanwhile, you have the left up in arms about Ron DeSantis' parental rights and education bill.
There's a whole interconnect between a series of things, and I'm sure you've been covering this story of libs of TikTok being doxxed as an Orthodox Jew. And why is that so threatening to the LGBTQ community? Because they're trying to say that if you believe in traditional religion and religious values, that you're automatically phobic and hateful. And they recognize you can't attack the Bible directly, so they go after the believers in every possible way. They just want to keep religion out of the public sphere. The goal here is not that other people should choose their religion. They want religion totally out of the school so that students feel compelled to choose no religion.
Yeah, during Monday's hearing, Justice Clarence Thomas asked if Kennedy would have been fired had he taken a knee to protest racism. Then Justice Alito asked if the coach was taking a knee to protest the invasion of Ukraine or climate change. Would then he have been fired as well?
That's exactly what I was saying about religion being regarded as a unique enemy of the people somehow. That you can, if you want to support any cause you want as a private citizen, as a teacher on school property, you can do that. But you get fired if what you do is support religion. And that's not the way to look at it. That's not the way freedom of religion works in this country. You get to have all religions or none.
It looks like the justices are leaning toward the coach.
I would like to think so. I think that his what he was doing was eminently reasonable. His position is eminently reasonable. And, obviously, the Americans United for Separation of Church and State, they're just trying to exclude all forms of religion from the public sphere. And that's simply not America.
Yeah, Rabbi, we're going to be watching this case as it's consequential in testing the separation of church and state.
Very much so. Yeah. And we appreciate it.
Rabbi Menken, thank you so much for joining us here on One America News.
Thank you again for having me.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.